A rain and wind warning is now in place for much of the south coast, with heavy rain falling across the region right now. And that's the last thing many North Vancouver residents want to hear as they clean up a big mess from earlier this week. Greg Harper is live on the North Shore this morning with more on that. Greg.
Good morning, Kyle. Behind me here is one of the catch basins that the district is keeping a close eye on. There is a crew right now going from basin to basin, checking to make sure that they're not clogged and to monitor the levels, which are changing. So far, so good here. No flooding. This is the area, though, late Monday night where Hastings Creek, it burst its banks. It sent a rush of water down Frome Road, and that continued throughout the morning. It flooded Argyle Secondary, which closed, and it damaged a number of homes. And this is the situation that many Lynn Valley residents find themselves in now. This is our very own Grant Marling, who works with us at City. His basement was flooded. When the water did recede, it left nothing but thick mud behind. Fortunately for Grant, he was covered by insurance. He's now waiting for a restoration company to come and help repair his home.
You just kind of have to take it as it comes. There's not a whole lot you can do. You can't fight those torrents of water, really. Maybe a little bit of sandbagging might help. Basically, you just take it with a grain of salt and clean up and move on.
So there are many Lynn Valley residents who are obviously worried this morning. There is a rainfall warning in effect. We could see 30 millimeters of rain in Metro Vancouver, possibly 40 millimeters of rain here on the North Shore. Steady rainfall, if it ends up working out this way today, Kyle, they'll take that here. That will probably mean no flooding. But if there's any intense rain for a short period of time, things could change quickly. So far, so good here on the North Shore this morning. Kyle?
All right, we'll see what happens. Greg Harper live this morning in North Vancouver. Greg, thanks for that. Well, it didn't last long. Hours after a controversial ferry idea became public, the plan was kiboshed. The provincial government overruled BC Ferries, insisting the Horseshoe Bay to Departure Bay route is not going anywhere. The Ferry Corporation suggested scrapping the sailings from West Vancouver to Nanaimo in order to save money. That would have meant all crossings to Nanaimo would have run out of Tawasin.
From a balance standpoint, when you're putting $3.1 billion worth of capital into the ferry system, that has an impact on fares. And we are trying to do everything we can to keep our costs down. We've saved $84 million over the last little while by being more efficient.
Part of BC Ferry's concerns at Horseshoe Bay lie with the terminal itself. The Ferry Corporation says it needs $200 million worth of upgrades. A lawyer has accused pipeline protesters of conspiring to harm Kinder Morgan by preventing Trans Mountain from doing its survey work on Burnaby Mountain. Demonstrators piled into Supreme Court to hear the company outline its case for an injunction to force them off the conservation area. 5 protesters, including 2 professors from SFU, are named as defendants. The Trans Mountain lawyer said workers were intimidated by the protesters. He argued that climate change and freedom of expression should not be factors in the injunction application.
I believe it is inherent to the health of a democracy that people can use their free speech, that people can freely assemble on public land, as we have been doing, and engage in acts of peaceful protest and even civil disobedience if it comes to that.
Protesters say 100 environmental and labor groups have signed a letter in support of the defendants, who also face a multi-million-dollar civil lawsuit. They've also raised $40,000 from 600 separate donors for legal costs. 2 Liberal MPs accused of personal misconduct are denying any wrongdoing. Liberal leader Justin Trudeau has suspended Scott Andrews and Massimo Pichetti from caucus over accusations they behaved inappropriately towards 2 female NDP MPs. However, there's no clear process to deal with matters like this between members. The Liberals are asking a multi-party board within Parliament to establish a process to investigate the accusations and similar complaints in the future. A cloud of uncertainty continues to hang over the Speaker of the BC Legislature. In a rare occurrence, MLAs have voted to request for information from the RCMP. Members would like an update on the Mounties investigation of Speaker Linda Reid. She's being investigated for $80,000 worth of upgrades to her constituency office in Richmond. It's just the latest in a string of overspending allegations Reid has faced. Some guards at the BC Legislature will be getting guns. Those designated as special provincial constables are now set to receive firearms after training. More than half of the 70 guards will be getting weapons. Bulletproof vests, metal detectors, and an airport-like security screening area will also soon become the norm. The move follows the attacks at the National War Memorial and Parliament Hill in Ottawa 2 weeks ago. Remembrance Day could become a national holiday next year. MPs have given second reading to a private member's bill that would make November 11th a statutory holiday right across the country. The bill will head to a Commons committee for further study. November 11th is already a stat holiday in all 3 territories, plus 6 provinces, including BC. Queen Elizabeth and Belgium's King Philippe attended the opening of the Flanders Memorial Garden in London today, just ahead of Remembrance Day. Members of the British Armed Forces were also in attendance, as were the Duke of Edinburgh, the Duke of Cambridge, and other royal dignitaries. The Queen also laid a wreath to honor fallen soldiers. Well, when it comes to politics and civic elections, the goal is always to get more young people involved in the process. Students at Emily Carr and Vancouver Community College put on an all-candidates meeting to learn more about municipal issues and how they affect young people. A debate was held by local student reps. The NPA candidates who were scheduled to attend did not make an appearance.
I think it went really well. We had, a busload of students come from Vancouver Community College with questions around things like pass-ups, which is a big issue for students. And unfortunately, we expected members from the Nonpartisan Association to be here. So we wanted a really thorough debate that, allowed for people to be very critical. And, those issues that are they're bringing to the table, we want to make sure that there was a really open and thorough debate.
It is game day for your Vancouver Canucks. The Canucks are in San Jose tonight. You can watch all the action at 7:30 tonight over on Sportsnet 360. Hey, a new ranking from Business Insider magazine has placed the Canucks as among the most expensive teams in the NHL for fans to go and watch. At an average cost of $130 per ticket, the Canucks are 4th when it comes to average ticket prices. That's still cheaper than tickets for the Leafs, the Bruins, and the Rangers. Toronto fans pay the most, with an average of around $155 for tickets. The Ontario Hockey League has suspended 2 players 15 games each after screenshots emerged of them using vulgar and abusive language in conversations on Tinder. The players are Peterborough Pete center Greg Betzold and Belleville Bulls forward Jake Marchment. The league commissioner says the players' actions go against the league's social networking policy. Both players have apologized on Twitter.